Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host, Sri Iyer. Joining me today is Lieutenant General Ravi Shankar, and we are going to be looking again at the Indo-US relationships as India has, I think, chosen its next prime minister, probably for stability. And what is this going to mean to the relations? You're also probably following what's happening in courtrooms in the United States, where the Democrats are trying to keep the Republican nominee Trump out of the election process. So all this is happening on both countries. I think India. So we're going to take a look at all these things. Who's going to come next? What is going to happen, and where things will be headed. Plus, what are the other things? Professor, General Ravi Shankar has a very interesting slide to share with us. So first, let's welcome him. General Ravi Shankar, namaskar. How are you, sir?
Namaskar. Thanks a lot. It's so nice to be back on P Gurus on a regular basis. That I must tell you. And it's good. And this is a topic which is probably very important both for USA and India. And this year is the year of the elections, right? Just as we are talking of India and US elections, there's another election which has slipped in. That's the Mexico election, where there's a lady who's won, 61 years old. It was a race between two ladies. The lady who's won is a climate scientist. So something else is happening there, right? And a lot of things will change this year. It's just not India-US relations. But I think India-US relations are going to be important for us for discussing, whether it's for people who are in India or those of you who are abroad there. I think it's and if you saw in the past 5-6 months, there are a lot of misconceptions. There's not a lot of friction areas. The Indian election is over. Tomorrow the results will come out. Down the line, 6 months, it'll either be Trump or Biden, one of the two. The advantage is we've dealt with both. India has dealt with both. So I don't see an issue there. And from here, if all goes well, like every exit poll says, and if Mr. Modi comes back, we can have stability and continuity. And there are issues which we need to focus on and set the things going. This is my opening thing, and if you want anything else, we'll do. Otherwise, we'll go into that slide and explain it to you.
Yes, sir. The only thing I would like to tell our viewers is please like this video, because you're going to find content here that you will not find anywhere else. This has come out of a lot of research by General Ravi Shankar. I'm merely hosting it. It's also beaming live on Gunnershot also. So this is 2 channels that you're getting it. So wherever you are, if you have not subscribed, please do subscribe to that channel. Sir, over to you. I know you have a slide deck to present.
Because I can talk my way through, but I think slide. I've got a simple slide. It will put things in focus so that we're not all over the place, right? Can we have that slide, please? Yeah. Look, this is the slide which I made. This is called the India-USA SWOT analysis. Normally, we talk of SWOT analysis: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat. But I call this a soft analysis. What is soft? Strength, opportunities, friction, and threats. So we'll look at each of them, and then we'll get into a larger discussion. You look at the strengths of both these countries. Great democracy, stable governments, which is probably one of the most important things. It doesn't matter who comes in USA as a president later this year, and most probably if Mr. Modi comes, you're going to have very stable governments, right? There's a broad congruence of the roles of USA and India in each other's perception. That's very important. One is the established power, right? There's no doubt for the past 1 century, USA has been the most primal power in the world. And next, you have a rising power which is civilizational in nature. The military to military equation, I must say, is fantastic. And apart from anything else over the past 10 to 15 years, this equation has only been growing. Both India and USA underpin the Indo-Pacific concept completely. Right? There's no, without India and America, the Indo-Pacific doesn't function. I mean, let me be very clear about it. notwithstanding whatever people talk of, right? And what's more, the recent events have indicated that the Indo-Pacific extends to the Gulf. You see, this is where the congruence of the Indo-Pacific, CENTCOM, and the PACOM, Indo-PACOM come. And here we've been acting. We have been acting in concert, the US Navy and the Indian Navy. Different roles, but very clear. And that indicates something bigger, because I'll come to the opportunities, we'll look at that. And then there's this huge people-to-people connect, right? And especially with the kind of diaspora which is there in US, or the Indian diaspora which is in US. I think that connect is fantastic. And wherever I've been to USA, and I'm not talking of the time now when I go as a grandfather out there or come there as a grandfather. I'm talking of the time when I go and, I've gone and interacted with the government. I've studied there for some time. So I find that the way they deal with us vis-a-vis other countries is different. Right, and I did a course there where there were officers from 56 countries, and yet amongst all these countries, they used to come and ask me and discuss with me quite a bit. I'm talking of my process. What are the opportunities? The world is in turmoil, and I think we need a lot to do to establish peace. And two big countries, super states, as Mr. Shiv Shankar Menon calls both these, have a lot to do. Then Global South. Look, the Global South has to be taken on board. Recently, Mr. Eric Garcetti, who's the ambassador to India, the US ambassador to India, put out a video. It's a very nice video, actually, in which he said, actually, I got this idea from him. He says, USA and India have complementary strengths and complementary, ideas to open the doors of the Global South, which I thought was very apt, was very right. There are certain things the USA can do in the Global South which India can't do, and there are certain things which USA just can't do which India can. And we have to also understand we have the civilizational connect with the Global South, right? And probably barring South America, Africa, and India, the South Asia and Southeast Asia, the connect is huge. Okay, then look at the trade opportunity. We are the fastest growing economy and the largest growing economy, USA. Both are to get together. Now, as in USA de-risks or decouples from China, it needs another huge economy for it to grow. Otherwise, USA itself won't grow, right? And that is, I don't see another choice but India. A lot of people in USA, a lot of experts, everyone has been saying, oh, they will go to Bangladesh, Vietnam, all that. It can go, but I think those are small economies. There's a limit. They can even go to Mexico from my side, right? But they're going to Mexico, but they're all limited. The big reservoir is India. Let the small reservoirs fill. The big reservoir is India, where people have to come. But then the opportunity here is this trade has to be new trade. It is not just the old trade where technology comes from USA and India is a manufacturing base. That won't happen. That's an opportunity and a threat in itself, and that's something post-elections this equation has to be set right. India cannot be another China. If America expects it to be another China, forget it. India has to be a different India, right? And we have to look at it. Both the countries have to look at it. At some level, this understanding is there. At some level, in USA especially, a lot of people are blind to it. Anyone who compares India with China is a fool. I'm making a big statement. The day you start comparing India and China, you're a fool. You're out of the equation. India cannot be China. China cannot be India. We are two different people, do different thinking. and with two different problems, with different strengths, right? And you're talking of a growing power, and China has a stagnant power. So you're talking of two different, right? Then India and USA are the hedge for each other in global affairs. If USA wants to talk to Iran or Russia, it has to go through India. It can't go through Ukraine. I mean, that's the fundamental thing, right? And if we have to send across a message to China, you have to use Russia and maybe even USA, right? Or Japan, or there are different things. So the hedging or a hedge against China is USA. This is the opportunity for both countries, hedging. And international affairs and anything in life, hedging is important. Okay, let's look at the friction part. USA expects India to be its ally. USA is used to allies. So it says, okay, what will India do for USA? On that count, as an ally, India falls short. But India wants to be a partner, not an ally. And this partnership, in many cases, is better than an ally. Right? So this perception of ally versus partner is going to be a friction point. Because I see US media talking a lot of alliances. They expect India to behave like an alliance partner, which it cannot. In many cases, we are not on the same page in global conflicts, right? Especially in Ukraine. We are okay in the principle of what's going on between Ukraine and Russia, but we are not aligned to Ukraine or the Western thinking. And many people, much of the media, Washington Post or New York Times or many of these, they say, look, India is not on the same page. Well, be that it may. We also had some problems. The way USA approaches Pakistan, right, is not conducive in India. So that is something which we'll have to understand. This will be a point of friction, and the way things are going, something which we'll have to think over. The good point here is this friction is more in the public domain, in the media and things like that. But government to government, there doesn't seem to be much friction. We are very clear as to how to handle it. In America, the thing is that India is not committed to many things, USA, right? That's the perception. It's not it's nice to be a strategic partner, but what does India do for USA? The discourse in India is fine. USA is my strategic partner, but is it reliable? Will it be there when it is available, when I need it? So, and this is going to be a very dominant factor of friction between the two states. And this can't be wished away. This will be there. Why? And there's a historical reason for it. The historical reason is throughout the past, say, 70, 80 years, right after the Second World War, virtually we've been on the opposite sides of the fence. Okay? People, USA has been more with Pakistan than with India. And at one point of time, China was indispensable to, USA, unlike now. And the whole thing has started in the past 5-6 years, when China has become a pacing threat to USA. At that time, India was on the backbench, but today India is back. So these are the issues which have to be, resolved. Then, of course, we both perceive democratic flaws in each other. USA says, look, India is no more a democracy. It's authoritative democracy. I don't understand what's an authoritative democracy. After all, we've just finished an election where nearly 60% of People who can vote have voted. Um, Whoever gets elected tomorrow comes and takes over. Okay. And if I want Mr. Modi as my prime minister, who's an American to say what he is? He's my prime minister. Let me take care of him. I have a problem with him, I'll vote him out. Right? If I don't have a problem with him, I'll get him back. It is my prerogative. It is the prerogative of the Indians. It's not the prerogative of the American, the media, or anyone to comment whether Mr. Modi is good, bad, or ugly. They can have a view on Modi, but not on the democratic issues of India. Right? Okay. Now, there is also a flip to it. What happened? Is this a democracy which is going to have a felon as a president? I can start questioning that. But my prudence and my wisdom says, forget it. Let USA sort itself on its own. USA has a problem at hand, whether it wants to choose Mr. Trump or not. Now that he's convicted, I'm talking legally. I'm not talking emotional. Right? Because every legal issue does throw up emotions, and that emotion is something which has to be resolved internally in USA.
Sir, sorry to butt in. Just one second, sir. Hold that thought for a second. Viewers, many of you are saying that you're not getting notifications. I'm just going to play you a small clip. Take a look at it, and I want to add something more because I'm finding out that there are some more things you have to do to get notifications. Just 1 second. I'm going to play this. This is your phone. Look for P Gurus. Open their site. And if you scroll down, you will see auto subscribe. There you go. We suggest you choose whichever channels you want. And then after that, you click on the YouTube icon. Then you will be asked to sign in with your Google account. Go ahead and sign that, which will be your email with gmail.com. This is normally what you do to go and look at any YouTube video, because we are going to tell the YouTube account that you will be automatically subscribing. Then what happens is you get automatically subscribed. But it doesn't stop there. There is something called a bell notification. Now, YouTube has added more features to the bell notification. And what is now happening is, if you want complete notifications, there is an option inside. If you click on the bell, you will get options. You need to choose all, ALL. If you don't do that, then it does not give you all the notifications. This I found out the hard way. So I thought I'll share that with you folks. So go to pgurus.com, click on auto subscribe, whichever channels you want to do, and click on YouTube again. If you've already subscribed, no problem. Still go ahead and do it, because what you really want to change is the notification. And in the notification, choose all, ALL. And then you will be able to get all the notifications. Because I'm seeing a lot of people saying, I'm not getting notification. And that directly hurts our viewership. And this is just a matter of adding new features in YouTube backend. That's why this is happening, in my opinion. Sir, back to you, sir. I'm sorry, because
a lot
of people are saying they're not getting anything.
Do the same thing for Gunner Shot also. Only thing is, the same drill you could do for Gunner Shot. Only thing is, Gunner Shot is only one channel. Okay, it's simpler.
So true. So true. So true. So true.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we were on this issue of democratic flaws. We could also discuss about USA and say, look, there are flaws, but the prudence is better part of the judgment. Let's say. And of course, I saw this article in the New York Times, which says, look, as a Muslim, I can't survive in India. I don't think so. I mean, that I think is a fallacy. I just saw on the Election Commission of India putting out a tweet on how voting will be done tomorrow in one constituency. And that was being told by a Muslim lady who's the returning officer there. So to say that, if you're a Muslim, you can't survive in India is fallacy. Right? I think that is taking things too far. Similarly, we've also seen cases of racism and Black Lives Matter and all that. These things keep coming up in democracy. Democracies have rashes once in a while, heat rashes. They let them happen, they'll cool down on their own. And we need to think, what are the threats? I think this is the area of convergence, where there's a lot of convergence between, USA and India. China. To contain China, I mean, we both have a similar interests. There's no doubt about it. Huge convergence there. And we must thank Xi Jinping for being what he is and making China what it is for a greater and a stronger Indo-US relationship. Then, of course, today, the latest China-Russia deal which has come out. It's very clear that China and Russia want to establish an alternate global order. And the existing global order needs all strong hands to be on deck to let it run and not get disrupted by this China-Russia deal. Then this issue of CRICS. What is CRICS? China, Russia, Iran, Korea. Add Turkey and Pakistan into this. This is a new axis of upheaval. And that's what has come out in Foreign Affairs. It's a very nice analysis of this, which has come out, which is going to disrupt world affairs. And the good thing here is India knows how to handle many of them. In this, right, we know how to handle Russia, we know how to handle Iran, we know how to handle Korea. Incidentally, North Korea and India have good relations. I don't know how many of you know about it, right? In fact, they reach out to us, we reach out to them. So, we know how to balance this whole story. We are, like I said, India and USA are keeping the major trade routes open, whether it's Malacca Strait or the Bab al-Mandeb, right, or even the Suez, the Gulf of Hormuz. Okay, there's no backsliding on democracy in India, or there's no point in saying China, USA goes to insurrection and all that nonsense. That's the threat. That thinking is the threat, which we need to throw out. Okay. Then, of course, migration. USA has some policies which are coming in place on migration. It is a debate in USA. And it affects us because a lot of our people are there and our diaspora is there and they have their aspirations. That's fine. So these are the things which we have to handle. The thing is, do our strengths and opportunities override the threats and the friction? Some of these threats bind us, right? And some of these friction points are also opportunities for us to strengthen our relationship. So what do I see ahead? Yeah, we can take this off. Right. What do I see going ahead? New government here, a new government in the offing there. Whichever government comes in USA, we've dealt with it. Things should get better. In fact, there has to be a realization that India and US are partners of choice. It's not that we are partners of circumstance. We are partners of choice. And this started between a UPA Prime Minister and the Democrat president. Went on to a UPA Prime Minister and a Republican president. Then an NDA Prime Minister with a Republican president. And it's evolved. Right? It can only go. It cuts across. It's bipartisan in nature, both sides. Yeah, there will be questions. Democracies will all have questions. If you are not good democracies and there were no good questions, then we wouldn't be thriving democracies. Then we would be Xi Jinping's, carbon copies. It's also known that America is better at dealing with dictatorships. I'm not. This is not rocket science when I say this. So be it. America has to learn to live with a democracy, a big democracy. So I don't see any this thing. I think with a bit of understanding, better understanding, patience, and maturity, I think things will go in the right direction. That's how I look at this relationship going forward. I'm open to questions.
Thank you, sir. I just have one or two questions, and then we can throw the floor open for the viewers' questions. First question I have is, when I speak to people who matter, like for example, members of Congress or senators and things like that, one word they always refer to when they are referring to Pakistan is not Rawalpindi, it is not Islamabad, but Abbottabad. Can you unravel this mystery? Why Abbottabad has that key role?
Look, Abbottabad has got the key role because whatever Osama bin Laden being there signifies Pakistan's, what should I say? How do I say? Outlook. It represents Pakistan's character. That you could keep a guy next to the Pakistan Military Academy, 10 kilometers away, who's wanted by your trusted ally. But in Pakistan was, and in fact, it is still, incidentally, Pakistan is still America's right non-NATO ally. That alliance is not broken. Okay, so and Abbottabad signifies what went wrong with that alliance. It's more of a character thing. It's more of a trust issue. More of a way people perceive it, right? So that's why they say Abbottabad, and that's my guess. It signifies Pakistan and how lack of trust there is in that place.
No matter what, I don't think US will walk away from Pakistan, even if Trump comes in, because there are so many things that they have there that they'll probably want to use as to control, even if nothing else, to control China, to control Iran, and also to keep an eye on India. I mean, these are all par for the course. Of course, India doesn't have the same mindset, which is, I've been saying this for a long time. If India wants effective look from US towards India, India needs to have the same kind of lobbying strength that other countries have built in Washington, D.C. That is the way this thing works. That is how politics works in United States. And India, if they have, yeah.
I agree with you completely. We need to build our lobby, and unless you lobby, things don't move in USA. It's known, so you have to deal with that thing, right? And let me put it this way: I have no problem with USA dealing with Pakistan. In fact, it may be good, even for India, right? Then you open a channel at the highest level to tell Pakistan to behave. Right, that's not a issue for us. Not that we can't handle Pakistan, we can handle Pakistan and more. And we need to understand that USA is a global power. We are not. We are a regional power. Okay, and they have global interests, and they needed to handle Afghanistan. Afghanistan is still there. Don't forget, it's still a mass of instability, and they can't. USA can't let go of their space in Afghanistan, because if they let go of their space in Afghanistan, Russia and China will come sit inside, right? And that happens, then you're going to see a whole block: China, Russia, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran, which is not acceptable to USA. I mean, you just have to see the writing on the wall from a different perspective, right? From a strategic perspective, and then the Central Asian republics are also lost. But that won't happen. Okay, and it's not good for us either. So Russia's involvement with US involvement with Pakistan needs to continue, and we need to understand it. And we need to understand the trajectory of that relationship rather than say, why is the relationship there? Yeah.
Very true, sir. Next questions, please. Thank you, Gupta Bondada, for becoming YouTube member. Thank you, Ajoy Misra, for becoming a YouTube member. Sunita Dwarka wants to know, I have one question. Does USA have hidden agenda of making Christian country using Pannu and other such members? This is a bigger hidden religious game as per as me.
No, I don't think so. I don't think you're right at all. Look, once upon a time, evangelism from USA was pretty rampant. No more. I don't think USA is doing this evangelical attitude. It's left that behind, far behind. Okay. But the fact is, there is a Christian society out here. So expect certain amount of evangelism. It's not as if it won't happen. I mean, just look at it the other way around. Don't so many of our gurus go there and preach and teach yoga and teach everything. Um, you think that's benign. Others might not think it's benign, but they are allowed still, isn't it? So this religious cross flow will happen. And if you think there's a hidden agenda behind it, then you'll keep only looking at ghosts in the corner, and you will not do the right thing. Okay, the major issues are then not addressed.
Next question, please. Langat Ranga wants to know, with the kind of results expected in favor of Modi ji, will China see it positively and try to improve its relationship with Bharat, or will animosity increase? Will it make it difficult for Indo-US relations?
Okay, let's look at it pragmatically. First and foremost, 11th, I'm doing a program for this very question. Has China interfered in our elections? China has a record of interfering in elections. It interfered in Canadian elections. It has interfered in Taiwan. So I'm going to do with Mrs. Sriparna Patak, who's a renowned sinologist. We're going to discuss this. And one of the things is this: what does it lead to? In the larger picture, there is a requirement for us to mend our relationship with China at some point of time. It has to mend. You can't interminably continue with a adversarial relationship. So we need to mend fences, and we need to start talking to them at some point. I'm not saying do it tomorrow, day after, but as India grows, as China changes, and even stagnates and it starts declining, there has to be a modus vivendi for us to. After all, we have a 3,200-kilometer border, which we have to resolve, and that resolution will take place not by force. It will only take place by dialogue. Okay, and everyone understands this. Okay, now what difference will it make to the Indo-US thing? Look, I'll ask you the other question. As of now, in the Shangri-La dialogue in Singapore, the US defense minister and the Chinese defense minister are talking in the same room. Aren't they talking? If they are talking, why should I not talk to China? And how should it affect US? Whatever they talk, whatever they agree, then Xi Jinping come to San Francisco in December for the APEC meet, November, December, and didn't President Biden and Xi Jinping have a talk for about 2 to 3 hours? They spoke, isn't it? That doesn't mean that their relationship is less frictious. There's still war on the horizon. But still trade is going on. So there are a whole lot of issues. As you become big, the thing becomes complicated. So I think, it doesn't make much of a difference. We need to do more talking.
Next one, please. Manov-san wants to know, seems India-US relations depend on which party is in power in US. Should India thus plan ties with particular political parties, factions, more than with governments? Doesn't US already do it with India?
I don't think so. I don't agree with this thinking at all. I just gave you this example. Right? I just gave you that example. Whether it's a Republican government or a Democratic government in USA, whether it's a Congress-led government in India or a BJP-led government in India, we've been good with each other. The trajectory of this partnership has gone only one way and up. Friction points have come, which I've explained, but it doesn't matter. For us, politics doesn't matter. Their internal politics for them also doesn't matter. Okay, governments don't interact through New York Times. Remember, New York Times or Washington Post is not the red line for the government to act on or not. Or governments don't react to what's in Times of India. Governments take those inputs but behave in the best interests of the government and the nation. There's a difference. Okay, there's a difference between a journalist putting a few things down and when I sit and evaluate a thing and put my considered opinion. Mind you, that's legal. That's legal when this analysis goes on. So that is different from what the party analysis is. Yeah.
Next one, please. Vishwanathan wants to know, sir, can Bharat compete with China with respect to product spread, scale, and economy of production as on date? Will the West allow Bharat unrestrained growth given their experience with China?
Look, that's what I told you, Vishwanathan. The major mistake most of us make is, why are we comparing ourselves with China? I don't need a comparison. I need to grow on my trajectory, and we have to understand this. Okay. The fact is that a whole lot of manufacturing has gone into China that might never come out. If it does come out, the only alternative is India. It can't go back to USA. In any case, this is not something which is going to happen overnight. It's going to happen over the next 5 to 10 years. This is a slow process. This transformation will be far slower than most of us expect. So we are going to be in this turmoil for the next 5-6 years. And this is what I keep telling you, even in gunner shot, regularly. So this is something which we have to understand. As far as unrestrained growth, be rest assured, USA can only control things up to a point. After that, it can't. Hasn't it seen with China? Right? And of course, now we're trying to constrain China, but how difficult it is. So don't think that it's so easy that USA will allow. USA, in any case, is no one to allow us to grow or not. It is up to us to grow or not. If we don't make the mistakes which China has made, then nothing will happen. Yeah.
Next one, please. Jack in and out of the box. Out of syllabus question. Now that Modi will most probably be PM, your views if Pakistan wants to start trade, what should be our detailed response?
Hasn't the PM himself said so? Now that you said Modi will be the PM, he has said already, भाई उनको दो रोटी खाने दो, वो अपना रहने दो और खुश रहने दो. Why should I trade with you, Pakistan? I have no reason to trade with Pakistan. Anyway, he's buying everything from me through Dubai. So why should I bother? Why am I bothered about it? Yeah.
Thank you, Kashmir. Sir, thoughts on Prannath Thapar and his son?
Look, I wouldn't like to get personal on these issues. Karan Thapar, for all his faults, it's not that I'm not his fan at all. But he serves a purpose. We are a democracy, damn it. Let's accept people for what they are. There's some good in everyone in this country who speaks. Just think, if everyone speaks and everyone votes for, hypothetically for BJP tomorrow, 100%, right? And there's no one speaking against BJP. What will you be? China. Is that what we want to be? Let me put it in a very philosophical term. If tomorrow, I'm going by what the outcomes so far are predicted. If tomorrow, the BJP gets and allies get 400, it's a brute majority for the government. Is that a good government for us? That's a question we have to think. Without a good opposition, the government is only as good as the opposition. Remember that. If the opposition is not there, we are in trouble. If one of the problems I've had for the past 5 years is our opposition has not been strong enough. If you don't have a good opposition, you're not a good democracy. Yeah.
Next one, please.
That is logical.
Absolutely, sir. That is very, very sensible and very correct. Manoj Soma wants to know, IRG, is it true that China occupied some of the land at Ladakh? If so, how much of land occupied? So much noise by opposition. Sir, I'll let you take this question, sir.
Okay. Look, there is no land occupied by China new in Ladakh. That I've been saying from day one till now. Whatever land they've occupied is in Aksai Chin before 2020. There are only 2 friction points now in Ladakh. Demchok and Depsang. What is the thing? Let me explain to you. I mean, unfortunately in this channel we can't draw, but let me explain to you. Look at it this way. This right. This is the Chinese perception of the LAC, and this is my perception of the LAC. Okay, it's like this. He thinks I'm here, this thing, and I think I should be here. Okay. Now, where is this thing come? So this has come somewhere in between is where we are facing off. Only thing is that in between is not in the center. On ground, our idea of where the patrolling point is beyond where the Chinese are in a face-to-face situation with us. And their line is behind ours. The area behind us is smaller, the area behind them is bigger. That's the way it is. We say that some of our land they have occupied. They also say some of the land we have occupied. So we are in a face-off. That face-off is continuing, right? So if you say that we don't have access to their petrol points, I agree. If they say that they don't have access to petrol points, we must agree. Earlier they used to come much beyond where the face-off is taking place. Face-offs used to happen east of where we are now in our area. So be patient. You have to understand the game. It's not as if they've occupied the area. Let me put it there in control of a common area. We are in control of some part of the common area. Their part of the control is more than our part of the control till the whole thing is resolved. Yeah.
Next one, please. Thank you so much. Why did Prannath Thapa deserve COAS, or was he just an Peruvian?
There's no point digging graves. You'll only get skeletons, right? And half the skeletons, would have been, even the ants would have eaten up the bones and calcium by now. So there's no point in going back so much.
Sir, we have a little bit of time, and I would like to ask you to.
Yeah, you ask more questions also.
Yeah,
we have
just
a lot
one
of
question,
time.
sir.
Take more questions.
So one question that I have is what we talked about just before we went live, which is that China now is asking Russia for some of the lands that it sees Russia as having got from China. I think this goes back to Mao Zedong days, and I think they have a plan and things like that. This has been now beginning to appear here and there in their mouthpiece magazines. Talk to us a little bit about how you see that, because what US is saying, again, I'm not saying me, what US is saying is that China has been overtly and covertly aiding Russia in its war effort against Ukraine.
Yeah.
So clearly there is a quid pro quo that they are going to expect from Russia for that. Yeah. Is this what that is? Your thoughts, sir?
Look, there is, it's a very interesting, this is a developing situation, which has just started, and this is going to play out over the next 5-6 years. It came to me when I was doing a bit of a research of mine, and I read something in the South China Morning Post, one thing led to the other. China has a claim of land over Russia, across the Amur River, right, as per the new standard map. Though that's been glossed over at this point of time. But their actual claim is farther, much more. And it goes back to the time when, just after the October Revolution in 1914, when the Soviet was established, around 1918. 1919, there was something called the Karakan Manifesto given to China. And then there was outreach to China to send communism across to China. And mind you, this predates Mao Zedong. It goes back to Sun Yat-sen. Right? Sun Yat-sen is, after all, the founder of modern China.
Modern China, yeah.
Yeah, he is the guru of Mao Zedong and Chiang Kai-shek. Both of them were his disciples. So there's an outreach there to Sun Yat-sen. And then things, settle down and all that. Then at some point of time, for a long period, both the armies were masked across the Amur River, right? Uh, then finally, with the collapse of Soviet Russia, things changed, and Russia, the current Russia, kept quiet. China kept quiet because China went whole. Now they come out with a standard map and the issues, and we're starting the very first step of a salami slicing is started by China. And the basis is what you have said. China now feels that this is the time to strike and the iron is hot and they have Russia in its grip. I'll not say more than that now because this is something I'm researching already on 8th. 8th, I'm going to have this thing on Karakan Manifest and broadcasting.
Yeah, we'll be carrying that also. We are working out the timing and logistics, viewers.
Yeah.
So that will be carried. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
And that's going to be a presentation. I mean, there's no discussion on that because people don't know what it is. People don't know that area. I'm going to get some maps. I'm going to get some thing and what the thinking today is and where will it lead to. It's quite a new thing which is coming up, which we need to start tracking. I just started. Things fell in place for me today. So I'm sharing it with you. 8th, we'll have our thing. We'll do that. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So viewers, one unasked for advice to you all. Many of you are probably consuming the videos on your phone. Actually, these days, the phones can hook up to your television very easily. And you can watch it on the television because when we put PowerPoint and other things, right, it's easier to read when it is on that much bigger screen. Just wanted to put that thing out. Once you start using that, you'll never go back to watching the videos on your smartphone. We are also trying to make sure that our quality is 1080p, which is like a bare minimum for a good viewing experience. You can see General has a one step ahead than most of us. He has a really high state of the art video. His video looks much nicer than most of our guests. So and, we know why, but it's okay. It's just like I have to bring one guest at a time to come and climb on the quality wagon. But be that as it may, just wanted to give you guys watch it on TVs. It looks much better, sir.
Yeah, look, especially Gunner shot. I would suggest watch it on the TV because I believe in giving a lot of presentations and a lot of maps. I don't like to talk ad lib. I mean, let me be very honest. Not that I can't. If you give me any subject, I'll talk without thinking. Most of the subjects which we discuss. But when I give things as a presentation, it's an organized way of thinking. You get a thought process, right? And that's how I've done it throughout my life. And that's how I did it wherever I've gone. And so if you see it on a bigger thing, then you see what I've written. And many times I get excerpts of books.
Yeah.
Okay? In fact, day after tomorrow, 7th, I'm going to do, okay, this is something if you want to carry it, you can carry it. You see, we have time. We still have a lot of time. So I thought, let me spend a couple of minutes on this. This is the month, 25 years back, Kargil war was fought. Okay? And it was on today's 3rd. Till now, we were on the back foot in Kargil, till today. It was only on the 5th that we got the first success on one of the outposts of Tololi. And it was on 10th that we got Tololi. And then then we massed artillery and things like that and all that. So this year I decided that I'll have a lot of programs on Kargil and how things have happened. And tomorrow I'm talking with General Hasnain. Join us. Lessons from Kargil at 6th. 7th, I'm going to talk about Pakistan. Why I'm talking of Pakistan? Everyone thinks Pakistan is down and out. It is not. Take it from me, it's not. Why? There's something called Pakistan and there's something called Pakistan Army. And we need to defeat the Pakistan Army. So we need to understand the Pakistan Army more than Pakistan. Right? Pakistan can be poor. Pakistan army is rich. Okay, so I'm doing an analysis which is different again from a Pakistani viewpoint. Join me on 7th, right? You'll see, and of course 8th I'm going to do this thing, and then I'm going to follow it up with lessons from Kargil, and doing a whole series on Kargil, and I'll be sitting in USA and doing it because 18th onwards I'll be in USA. So those of you who are watching me from USA, let me know the best time and date. Date when I should go live on Gunner Shot, and I'll come there because I'm doing it from there. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. A few questions that have come up since the time we were talking. Let's have the next question, please. Gurdeep Singh wants to know, General Saab, how can we believe US? Please explain.
How can you believe your wife? Let me ask you this question. At some point of time, you take a leap of faith, isn't it? Right? Especially those of us who got into arranged marriages and all. Our parents said, "Look, get married." You got married, then you started. You just had faith in the system. Between countries, that even that you don't have to take that big a leap of faith. You go on certain established norms, and you establish this norm brick by brick. And it's been 20 years since we have established certain norms. Okay, so there are places you trust in. There are places you trust and verify. Okay, so you have to do. Governments are smart. Don't think Indian government is a foolish government. It doesn't matter which party is in chair. It doesn't matter which prime minister is in chair. I have served all kinds of governments. Okay, from 1977 till now, even now. Even now, I'm in government service. Governments are smart. They know how to do these things. Don't worry.
Next one, Kashmir. Thank you so much. What was the army doing during emergency when there was no opposition?
Look, army has no role in this political process. A lot of people have said, why didn't army do anything? Army had no role. It was a political process. One of the best things which happened to India was army stayed out of the whole equation there. And that is how India recovered on its own. I mean, I don't know who you are, but I've lived through emergency. Okay, I've lived through emergency. I still remember when it was in 1977 when the Janta government came into power, and I was in a train coming back from Indian Military Academy. We've lived through it. Okay, so it is a political process which got sorted politically out. Have faith in your own system. Yeah.
Karthik wants to know, how good to have China on India's borders? Historically, how much neighbors we were?
Historically, we were never neighbors because there was this buffer state called Tibet. We never had common borders. We never had a common understanding. A few of their guys came and we exported religion to them. Okay. Now that buffer has gone, there will be friction. Because we've never had a historical understanding. And we have civilizational states. We are nuclear powers. We are both in the biggest states in the landmass of Asia. When we were not in touch with each other, things were okay. But today we are in touch with each other. Infrastructure has improved on both sides. Approach to each other has improved. Patrolling has improved. Everything is improved. So there's going to be more friction. As simple as
that. Shankar VK wants to know, General Saab, what is the final verdict on General Rawat's mishap? Was there any foreign hand involved?
White out. What happened to Ibrahim Raisi recently is the same thing which happened to Rawat. Complete whiteout. You have to be in whiteout conditions to understand what a whiteout is. In a whiteout, you're completely disoriented. You don't even know which side you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, General Ravi Shankar. And that was a fantastic session that we had. And viewers, we'll be back again through this week, carrying a few of the videos of General Ravi Shankar. And sir, I'll give you a call right after this, and we'll
Yeah. No problems. And I would suggest those of you who are viewing this, subscribe to Ghana Short, subscribe to P Gurus. We're going to have this going, and most of this thing, I'm going to put some of my research on down, because I can't take this research up when I go up. I have to leave it down with knowledge with all of you. That's how it is.
So true. Thank you so much, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you. Namaskar.